The innovative Fender Eliminator, manufactured by TST Industries, tucks your license plate under the tail with 3-axis adjustability, giving you the freedom to match the final position to your personal taste. In this video, we will show you how to install the Fender Eliminator on your Ducati.
Begin by removing the license plate from your current setup. Be sure to save the hardware. You will reuse it on the TST Fender Eliminator. Next, you will need to remove the passenger seat. Then, unscrew and remove the driver's seat. You can leave the seat screws captive in the driver's seat. This will make reinstallation much easier. Begin the tail section removal by unscrewing these 4 fasteners. Now remove the 2 fasteners in the forward part of the tail section and the fastener holding the side panels onto the tank. Remove the 2 fasteners from the forward part of the side panel. Remove the 2 fasteners in the rear outer portion of the side panel. Now remove the last side panel fastener located under the tail. Gently flex and manipulate the side panel and the tail fairing and withdraw the rear part of the side panel out of the tail fairing. Rotate the side panel by bringing the forward part up and the rear part down, and remove it by pulling it towards the front of the bike. Repeat the same steps for the other side. Now you will need to disconnect the 3 conductor data port plug under the driver's seat. Unlock the tail fairing from the undertail by sliding it forward to clear these tabs from their accepting geometry. Disconnect the tail light plug. Lift up on the fairing and work the 3 conductor plug and wire you disconnected in a previous step out of its routing guides. You can now remove the tail fairing and put it to the side. Remove the 3 fasteners from the inner fender cover. Remove the fender cover and find the fender lighting plugs. Unplug the 2 signal plugs and the license plate light plug. You may need to use a flathead screwdriver to unlock the license plate light plug. Now unscrew the 2 screws that hold the fender to the subframe. Clear the plugs and remove the lighting equipment wires from the fender. Carefully route the wires to the top of the bike. Reinstall the tail section and side panels in the reverse order of disassembly. Now, thread the remaining wires on the tail section through their routing guides. Reconnect the data port plug. Make sure that all of the wires are tucked in and routed properly. Failure to do so may result in damage to your wires when the fairing is set back into place. It is extremely important that you protect all wires from being clamped or pinched when assembling the fairing back onto the subframe and undertail. Align the undertail tabs with their accepting geometry on the tail section. Insert the tabs into the tail on both sides and then slide the tail towards the rear of the bike to lock it into place. Reassemble the remaining body components in the reverse order of disassembly, as shown. During reassembly, all of the fasteners should only be finger tightened. You can tighten them completely in the final step after all fasteners have been threaded in. Be careful when flexing and manipulating the rear part of the side panels. The 3 rear screws on each side panel fasten into rubber well nuts. Exercise care not to over-tighten these screws. Begin by identifying all of the part bags for the Fender Eliminator kit. You should have bags A, B, C, and D. In the first step, we will only be using parts from bags A and B. Empty bag A and identify 2 angle brackets, 1 internally threaded cylinder, 1 longer screw, 1 shorter screw, and 2 O-rings. It will be necessary to use a thread locking compound for the assembly of all of these components. Failure to do so may result in your parts vibrating loose and falling off the bike. Remove the bracket from bag B. Take the longer screw and an O-ring and apply thread lock to the threads of the screw. Feed the screw and O-ring through the right angle bracket, then through the bracket from bag B, and thread on the cylinder. Take the shorter screw and O-ring, apply thread lock to the threads, and fasten the remaining angle bracket onto the cylinder. For now, you will want to leave everything only finger tight. Empty bag C and identify the license plate bracket, 2 nuts, and 2 countersunk screws. Mount the license plate bracket onto the assembly from the previous steps. Again, be sure to use thread lock. Once again, only finger tighten, as you will need to go through a final adjustment later on. Empty bag D and identify a clamp block, 2 hex screws, and 2 washers. Apply thread lock to the screws. The TST Industries Fender Eliminator offers multi-axis adjustability to allow for truly customizable license plate mounting and clearance for the multitude of aftermarket exhausts typically installed on these bikes. Adjustments can be performed on subframe attachment angle, license plate angle, and subframe height. The mid bracket also has 3 positions where the license plate bracket can mount, so that the license plate mounting height can be adjusted. Now, going back to the bike, identify the subframe center tube. Fit the clamp block onto the center tube. Using one of the screws and a washer, attach the top side of the assembly into the clamp block. Then attach the bottom side. Leave it loose for adjustment. Using a wrench, thread in the screws until you feel resistance, but be sure to leave them loose enough so you can still adjust. Adjust your Fender Eliminator assembly so that it will result in the license plate hanging at the angle and position that you want. Once you are happy with the placement, tighten down the clamp block to immobilize it. Now, make the final adjustments of the remaining positioning degrees of freedom, and once you find an acceptable position and angle for your license plate, tighten down all of the fasteners. Install your license plate on the license plate bracket using the hardware that you saved from the first step of this procedure. Make sure that after installation, no part of the assembly or license plate makes contact with the exhaust, subframe, tire, or any other component. Also, make sure that your license plate is positioned in a way that it does not make contact with the tire or swing arm in the rear suspension bottomed out position. Begin by applying thread lock to the screw threads. Insert the first screw through the closeout and thread it into the subframe mount. Leave it only finger tightened. Thread in the second screw in the same fashion. Align the closeout to your liking and tighten down both screws all the way with tools. This installation is complete and you are ready to ride.